What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's moving the market, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor's up 1.43%, 659 the high, 642 the low. So it is doing fairly well today alongside much of the greater market. And there was a couple things that did come out. So right now, Trump is speaking at the Davos in, I believe it's Switzerland. And so there's a lot of things being stated. One of which is that he has no intention of just taking Greenland. He wants it to be pretty much offered and have a vote. So that's a good thing. Markets kind of taking that as a extreme positive. Aside from that though, you also do have Trump kind of coming out with some pretty bullish things for Opendoor. So getting right to some of the data points, we did have mortgage applications coming in at 14.1%, a little bit lower than the previous, but still that is very good if you ask me. So it definitely shows that there's a lot of good demand. Similarly, mortgage market index came in at 397, a lot higher than the previous, which was 348. So all in all, pretty good stuff for that. But like I said, right now, it's Trump's speech. That's what's really driving the market higher. So Trump saying that he won't use force to get Greenland is definitely a very big positive. But in addition to that, So I know Trump says a lot of things, some come to fruition, some don't, and he did say that he signed a order banning large institutional investors from buying homes. I know initially when it came out, a lot of people saw it as positive, negative. Some people just thought it was just him ranting. But turns out he's following through. No different than that 200 billion to potentially lower rates. That is going to most likely cause a nice domino effect over the next several quarters on the rates. So definitely all of this is extremely bullish for Opendoor. And I know this one I kind of was hit and miss whether this was kind of extremely bullish or kind of neutral for Opendoor initially. You did have a lot of Opendoor management such as Kaz and Keith really coming out saying that this is huge. So at the end of the day, good things are coming from what it looks like. Aside from that, nothing really specific to Opendoor. So last news did come out on December the 15th. Nothing really crazy since then. So Kaz is still in that quiet period. So he's not really doing too much up until their upcoming earnings, which right now is still unannounced. Seeking Alpha does show it as February the 20th. So use that as kind of a benchmark, but I know every platform kind of shows different dates. Aside from that, looking at shorts are returning about 11,000 shares. 14.24% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 111 million shares overall being shorted. Still see a lot of signs of naked shorting, so that doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. DTC being at 1.22 days does really signal that shorts are overextended, but at the same time, as I've mentioned in previous videos, that is kind of moving higher because the average volume for Opendoor has been going down. So all of this is just ratios and so forth. Interestingly enough, though, on social media, you see a lot more people talking about Opendoor having a squeeze-like price action in the next little bit, which is rather interesting. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be to really prompt that, or if people are just seeing this as them being overextended, and that is going to cause, obviously, maybe shorts, like a short squeeze or something. Trump did mention that the market's going to double. So, of course, if you take that for face value, then yeah, that would be a pretty good catalyst overall. But aside from all of that, looking at the options, 728,000 in calls, 94,000 in puts, 56% of all the options being done are bearish in nature though, which is rather interesting. Kind of paints a different picture than what is actually happening in the broader market. Some of that could be hedging on a side note, but from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 7. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 6. So with us at 650, you kind of have level ground right now. So it could go either way based on this at least. These are the transactions occurring on the secondary market. So somewhat mixed, one buy, one sell. Buy for 160,000, sell for 659,000. Dark pool is very active though, considering the market's been only open about 30 minutes, give or take. And so shorts as well as hedge funds are very active. And you can kind of see a lot of hold numbers. So 90,000, 40,000 and so forth. So it goes to show that hedge funds are buying. So definitely they're liking what they're hearing. And most likely I think a lot of institutions were hesitant because of Greenland. And so obviously with this, that fear being pushed to the side, then most likely obviously that's a green light for the broader market to really move higher. Right now with it at 649, it has successfully retaken this pivot point of 641. So that's going to be an element to really watch for in the next little bit. 560 is going to be the following support. So all in all, just kind of watch for those, but things are looking pretty a-okay if you ask me, especially if it does close above that 641. Quickly popping back over here on the actual chart itself. So leading into today, it was kind of showing some signs of consolidation. Still, right now, it did bounce off of that 10-day moving average, so that's going to be something to really watch for in the short term. And so that is currently sitting at 661. So it's not down and out just yet, but that's going to be something to really get over, ideally in the next day and a half. Tomorrow, on a side note, we have a lot of big data. We have GDP, initial jobless claims, and also PCE that could really reconfirm that the market is a-okay, and potentially, based on, again, a lot of Trump comments from this most recent speech, that we might be getting multiple cuts. I know he kind of says that a lot, but now the fact that he's going to be naming a new Fed chair kind of signals that what Trump says could actually happen, because of course he has a lot of power, as what even Powell recently mentioned, that he's the culprit that kind of prompted that DOJ investigation. But nonetheless, in the short term, just kind of watch for that 10-day moving average, and if it's able to close above that, then you can retest that 50-day moving average. Looking at stochastic RSI, it is at 57, so a little bit neutral, not really overbought nor oversold. So let me know your general thoughts on Opendoor. Are you buying more? Are you selling? Based on everything that is being stated, do you think that's just meant to kind of hype up the broader market, or do you think it's legitimate catalyst to really push Opendoor and much of the greater market higher? Let me know your viewpoint on all of that. One final thing, if you're looking for some solid buy signals, pop over to my Patreon and put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.